morning to all. Hope you are keeping well. So our next basic term is state of a system. So we are discussing about the thermodynamics and its basic terms we are discussing. So state of a system. So the state of a system is nothing but it means the condition of the system. So the condition, it is the state of a system is nothing but it is the condition of the system, condition of a system which is being described by, so it the system we are describing the condition of the system, and that condition of the system is being described in terms of some measurable conditions, in terms of some measurable conditions or measurable properties, we can say measurable properties. So based upon those measurable properties, so we are going to describe a system, and the state of that particular condition of the system is called a state of system. So that is measurable properties. Which are those measurable properties? The measurable properties may be temperature, it may be pressure. So temperature, it may be pressure, it may be volume, it may be, or number of moles it may be. So all these are measurable. If temperature is changing, we can measure the change of temperature. If pressure is changing, we can measure the change of pressure, volume, likewise number of moles. So if any of these properties are changing, we can measure them and we say that the condition of the system is changed. Let us consider we have a system and it is changing from initial state. So the state of the system, first initially we have the state, we call that one as initial state. So likewise, so it is changed, and that is what we call as final state of the system, final state of the system. Okay, so let us consider initially the pressure was P1, temperature was T1, volume was V1, and number of moles N we have taken, or we'll consider N1 we have taken. In this, any one of the property if it is changing. So let us consider, so pressure is changed. Pressure changed to P2, temperature changed to T2. Volume is same and number of moles is also same. Then we say that, so the state of the system is changed. The condition of the system is changed, where pressure was P1 and temperature was T1 here. Here it is pressure is P2, temperature is T2. So we say that state of the system is changed. Clear it is? It is not only called as initial state and final state. It may contain different states also. 2, 3 different states also you may get. But it is based upon the pressure, temperature changes, or pressure, temperature, volume and number of moles changes. So these properties, if it is changing, then we say that state of the system is changed. So state of a system is nothing but the condition of the system which is described in terms of measurable properties such as temperature, pressure, volume and number of moles. So most of the times number of moles we are not going to consider. Generally it will be pressure, temperature and volume only. So if any of these properties of the system changes, then system is said to be in different state. Clear? If any of these, any one of these properties, if it is changing, then we say that the state of the system is changed, or the system is in different state. Clear? So if it changes, then it is in different state. So that's why these properties are called as properties, that is pressure, temperature, volume. These properties are called as state variables. If they vary, then state of the system is varying, or state of the system is changing. So that's why we call that one as a state variables. So the properties, that is pressure, temperature and volume of a system, is called as a state variable, because if any one of this is going to change, then state of the system is going to change. So that's why these properties are called as state variables. Next we have state function. Next term we'll discuss. So we have two different terms, that is, one is a state function and the other one is a path function. So what is the state function? First we'll discuss, then we'll move on to path function. First we'll discuss about the definition, and then we'll take up the examples. With the examples it will be more clear. So a state function is nothing but it's a physical quantity. It's a physical quantity. So it is, if a physical quantity is said to be a state function, then so it is its value is going to change, or it will be dependent only on the state of the system. Either it may be initial state or it may be final state. So no, we are not going to discuss how it has been changed. Now we have discussed here only. You can observe pressure is P1, here it is P2. Temperature is T1, here it is T2. So we have never discussed how this changes has been done. So just we have discussed that. So pressure is changed and temperature is changed. So pressure and temperature, we can call them as a state function. So the state function is nothing but it is a physical quantity. So its value, a physical quantity whose value depends on the initial or final state of the system, not on the path with which it is obtained. That is, final and initial and final states are obtained. So state function is nothing but it is a physical quantity. State function is nothing but it is a physical quantity whose value depends on the initial or final state of the system, or it is not on the, it doesn't depends on the path with which it is obtained. So just now we have discussed, so that is pressure, temperature, either it may be volume. Here also same thing. If volume, if changes from V1 to, if it is V2, so we are not going to discuss about, we are not bothered about how that change has been done. We only discuss about initially the volume was V1 and in the final state volume is V2. Only that much we are going to discuss. Or else let us take one more example only. So that is, we have taken some water. So initially the water is in 20 degrees Celsius, and after some time it had become some 80 degrees Celsius. Okay, so temperature is T1 here, 20 degree. So here temperature is T2. So we are bothered about temperature has changed or temperature has increased. We don't want how it has increased. Clear it is? Whether we have boiled the water keeping on the LPG gas stove, or whether we have done that heating process in the induction or in the solar cooker, whatever may be the means, but temperature is changed from 20 degrees Celsius to 80 degrees Celsius. That's what matters. Clear it is? So that means that initially it was 20 degrees Celsius, finally it has changed to 80 degree. The state of the system is changing. The state of the system is changing. So how we have brought that change, it doesn't matter for the physical quantity. For the temperature, it doesn't matter. Only it matters is the temperature has changed, that's it. So the temperature is a physical quantity. So that physical quantity is bothered only about the changes which has been taking place, which changes the state of the system. Only it is bothered about that one. It doesn't bother about how we have done that one. So that's why that physical quantity can be called as a state function. So temperature is one among the state function. So likewise, we have temperature, we have pressure, we have volume, next we have enthalpy, we have entropy, we have Gibbs free energy. This you heard this one in equilibrium chapter, Gibbs free energy. So all these three terms, that is enthalpy, entropy and Gibbs free energy, we are going to study in our further classes. You need not to worry, but you just remember all these are state functions. All these physical quantities depend upon the initial or the final state of the system. It is dependent upon the initial or final state of the system, but not on the path with which it is obtained, but not on the path. So we have one more function, and that function is called as path function. So path function we can define as it's not a physical quantity, it is a property. We can call that one as a property. A property whose value or the property which depends upon the path by which the change is taking place. So we can we will take up an example. That is, let us consider a person who is standing in a ground floor, and he has to reach a 5-stored building. That is the 5th floor he has to reach. So the person from the ground floor, he is moving to 5th floor. So here the work is being done. The person is moving from ground floor to 5th floor. So he has two ways. Either he can take up a lift and it can move, or he can move through the steps. Through the steps, if he is moving, so his legs are working more. The working of legs of that person is more, because he has to climb all those steps and he has to reach 5th floor. So the work done by that person, if he comes through the steps, is more when compared to the work done or when compared to the person who takes up the lift and moves to the 5th floor. That means that the work is different in both the cases. So in case of earlier, the temperature it has changed from 20 to 80 degree. We didn't bother about how we have changed that one. But here, work done is completely dependent on the path which we have chosen. So work is more in case of staircase, and in case of staircase or in case of steps. So work is less if you choose a lift. So that is nothing but, so work is such a property. Work is such a property where the path is very, very important. It doesn't matter. I mean, it is not that much relevant that from ground floor to 5th floor. In both the cases, from ground floor to the person has reached 5th floor. But the path chosen is mattering here. So because of the path, the work is counted there. So due to steps, work is more, and due to lift, work is less. So work is such a physical quantity. I mean, it is such a property. So we say that it is a property. It is a property which depends on the path path chosen for the process. Path chosen by which the state is obtained. To obtain the final state of the system, with which path is chosen. So based upon the path, the property's value is going to change. It is a property, it is the value of that property, or it is a property whose value depends. So let us change a little. Whose value depends on the path chosen by which the state is obtained, by which the state has been obtained or state has been attained. So to attain the final state of the system, which path we have chosen. So based upon the path, the value of the property is going to change. Such properties are called as path function. Such quantities are called as a path function. So we have an example. Just now we have discussed with the example, that is a person moving from ground floor to fifth floor by using lift, as well as one more person with an steps or staircase. So the work done is different in case of different person or different path. So work is a path function. As the path changes, work is also going to change, or this quantity is also going to change. So likewise, we have work, we have heat. So we have one more is heat capacities. So all these are path functions. So you can now we will get a doubt that how will be identifying. So remember, these three are path functions. The remaining are state functions. So that is work, heat, and heat capacity is nothing but it is the path function. So the remaining all others are state functions. So we have written many examples for state function also. So all these are state functions and these are path functions. Next we'll move on to the next term, that is extensive property. So we have two types of properties. The properties have been classified under two types. So same here also, the properties have been classified under two types, that was state function and path function. So this is based upon the value of that particular property on which it is dependent. Clear? So the value of the property, if it depends on the state of the system, then it is state function. If it depends on the path of the system, path taken by the system, then it is called path function. Likewise, we have two types of properties. One is extensive property and intensive property. So all these are nothing but the physical quantities or physical properties. Either it may be temperature, pressure, mass, volume, density. We are going to differentiate all these according to either extensive or intensive. What is this extensive? First we'll discuss extensive properties. So these are the properties which are dependent, which depend upon the quantity of matter taken in the system, or contained in a system. So these are the properties which are dependent. So the properties which depend upon the quantity of the matter contained in the system, or quantity of matter taken in a system. So let us consider a system we have. So it consists of some reactant 2 kg, and one more system we have. It consists of reactant some 4 kg. Clear? So the temperature is, so here also temperature is T1. Here also temperature is T1. Clear? Now, so here we have 2 kg, here we have 4 kg, here we have temperature as T1, or let us consider some 10 Kelvin. 10 Kelvin. Here also it is 10 Kelvin. Clear it is? So we have taken two system now with a different amount and different same temperature. Now, so we can say that mass is a physical quantity, or mass is a property in which in the first system mass is 2 kg and here mass is 4 kg. So temperature here it is 10 Kelvin. Here also temperature it is 10 Kelvin only. That is nothing but, so mass is a property which is dependent on the amount of substance taken in the system. Mass is such a property which is dependent on the quantity of the substance which we have taken. So temperature, it doesn't matter whether it may be 2 kg, 4 kg, 10 kg. It is 10 Kelvin only. It is 10 Kelvin only. Here also it is 4 kg we have taken, but still the temperature remains same. It is 10 Kelvin itself. That means that the property, that is the property which is dependent on the amount of substance taken, the property on which the property's value is dependent on the amount of substance if it is taken. So that is what called, that property is called as extensive property. So extensive properties are the properties which dependent upon the quantity of matter taken in a system. If amount of substance changes, the quantity is also changing. If amount of substance is changing but the quantity is not changing, so such properties are called as intensive properties. Clear it is? Such properties we are naming them as intensive property. First we'll write the example for this one. That is example for extensive property. So just now we have seen it is mass is going to change. So let us consider volume. So the substance taken is 10 liter in one case, 20 liter in one case. Then volume is a property which is going to change. So we can say that volume is changing according to the amount of substance taken in the system. So mass is changing, volume is changing, heat capacity. What is heat capacity? In our further classes we can discuss. So that is heat capacity is changing, internal energy, enthalpy, entropy. So all that I'll write it. All these are the things which we are going to discuss in our further classes. Internal energy, enthalpy, entropy, Gibbs free energy. All these are extensive properties. These properties whose value dependent upon the quantity of matter which you are going to take. So that's why these properties are called as extensive property. A very important 1 mark question. So we have questions also. We'll discuss that one in our next tomorrow's video. We'll discuss about the questions which has been asked in the exams. Quantity, any one of the quantity or property is being given and they'll ask you to identify whether it is an extensive property or intensive property. So this is about extensive property. Next we'll move on to intensive property. So intensive property will define it. These are the properties whose value depends on the nature of the substance. Nature of the substance taken in the system. Nature of the substance and independent of the quantity. Independent of the quantity of substance in the system. So we can say that it is the property. These are the properties whose value depends upon the nature. Depends only upon the nature depends on the nature of the substance. Depends on the nature of substance and are independent of the amount of substance present in the system. Independent of the amount or quantity of substance taken in the system. Clear it is. So that is, quantity doesn't matter what is the amount, what is the nature of that substance. So that matters. So based upon that, the quantity value is also going to change. So example, already we have discussed, one example we have discussed, that is temperature, density. So what amount of substance doesn't matter. So whether the substance is whether the nature, how the nature is, based upon that it is going to change. So it is pressure, we can write. Temperature we have written, it is pressure. We can write refractive index, viscosity, surface tension. All these are intensive properties. Surface tension, mole fraction. So remember properly. Mole fraction, freezing point, boiling point, all these are important. Freezing point, boiling point, all these are intensive properties. So freezing point, boiling point, pH, EMF of the cell, molarity, mole fraction. We'll write it, molarity. Mole fraction we had written. pH of the solution or pH of the EMF of the cell, all these are important. pH of the solution, etc. So we have extensive property. Extensive property is the one which is going to depend on the quantity of substance taken in the system. Intensive property is the one which depends upon the nature of the substance taken in the system. So we have temperature, density and all few things. So one more important thing, example we have already discussed. Their example we have discussed as mass, volume and all. So one more hint or one more clue we can take. That is, if at all, if we have extensive property divided by, if we do extensive property, then that will give rise to an intensive property. We have taken an ratio of two extensive properties and then you'll get an intensive property. One such example, extensive, already we have discussed. Mass is an extensive property. Volume is an extensive property. Mass by volume is density, which is intensity. Density, which is intensive property. So that thing you need to remember. So that is extensive by extensive will give rise to intensive property. So let us consider one more thing. That is mole fraction. Mole fraction. Mole fraction we have written it as intensive property. So mole fraction is an intensive property. So mole fraction is equals to, what is the formula? Number of moles. So mole fraction we can write it as number of moles of a particular component divided by total number of moles. What is mole? Mole is nothing but mass divided by molar mass. Mass is an extensive property. Clear? That means that number of moles is an extensive property. This is also extensive. This is also extensive. Will give rise to intensive, or intensive is equals to ratio of two extensive properties. So number of moles also an extensive property itself. So that's why intensive is equals to extensive divided by extensive. So this part you remember, because competitive it is important. So this is one of the trick regarding extensive and intensive. So in our next class, we'll discuss about a few more tricks to identify extensive and intensive properties. Clear? So in our next class, we are going to discuss about the tricks to identify extensive and intensive. This is one of the normal one. So we'll take a few more, and because KCET, one important question from thermodynamics will be from in this section, to identify the extensive and intensive property, or to pick an extensive or intensive property from that.